Well, it's a brand new deal that could earn her a lot of royalties. Meghan Markle is reportedly considering signing a deal with...
She's, among other things, a disaster tourist who cannot seem to stop herself from taking advantage of places where people have suffered amazing hardship.
Dior says this is not true. They have no idea where this came from. And as I told you in your...
Honey, let me tell you what's going down because the fashion world is buzzing. Dior, yes, Dior just cut Meghan Markle off completely. Can you even imagine? We're talking about the same Dior that dresses actual queens, princesses, and icons of grace without blinking an eye. But when it came to Meghan, they slammed that door shut so fast it echoed through every fashion house in Paris. No contact, no collaboration, no nothing. And let's be real, Dior doesn't make random moves. If they say no, you better believe there's a reason. Whispers started spreading like wildfire about missing gowns, borrowed dresses that never made it back, photo shoots where the math just didn't add up. But then came the moment that nobody could ignore. A soft green designer dress that had vanished years ago suddenly appeared again on Meghan herself. Same dress, same designer, 3 whole years later. That's when the fashion world went silent like, wait a minute, what? Everyone started asking the same question, what has really been going on? Because baby, once you see all the details, you'll understand exactly why even the biggest names in couture decided to back away. Picture this. Meghan's at a Variety magazine shoot. Everything's picture perfect. She's glowing under the lights, hair flawless, the soft green fabric flowing like butter, a true Hollywood moment. Everyone's working like clockwork, assistants fluttering around, cameras snapping, makeup touch-ups between shots. Just another glamorous day for a celebrity photo shoot. Until it wasn't. See, that green dress? It was alone. That's standard practice, totally normal in the industry.
I'm learning French on Duolingo, she says proudly, adding that she just hit a 90-day streak. I don't know how any...
Designers send out their precious pieces, the celebrity wears them for a few hours, and then the items go back. There's paperwork, tracking sheets, signatures, all to make sure everything's smooth and professional. But when that shoot wrapped up and the team started packing, something was missing. The green dress was nowhere to be found. No paperwork saying Meghan could keep it, no permission, no explanation, just gone. Poof, vanished. At first, the wardrobe team stayed calm. Mistakes happen. Maybe it was folded into the wrong garment bag. Maybe an assistant packed it away by accident. So they followed up, they waited, they asked around, but the dress never reappeared. Eventually, they dropped it, just another weird blip in a busy industry. Fashion people see it all. Sometimes it's easier to let small things slide. But fast forward 3 years later, and there she was, Meghan Markle herself, stepping out in that exact same green dress. Same shade, same fit, unmistakable. And suddenly, those quiet whispers from the past turned into a chorus of, hold up, that's the dress. Fashion insiders started connecting the dots. Stylists remembered odd little warnings. Wardrobe coordinators recalled missing items. Assistants thought back to small moments that didn't sit right, and suddenly, all those minor blips formed one big, glaring picture.
Meghan Markle and Prince Harry, the world's least happy millionaire, are said to be on the rocks. How surprising.
All those tiny red flags that people had brushed aside now made perfect sense. This wasn't a one-time misunderstanding. When that dress resurfaced years later, everyone realized this was a pattern. The industry's polite silence cracked open. Stylists started talking, designers started comparing stories, and people realized they weren't the only ones who'd experienced, let's call it, disappearing inventory. And honey, when the fashion world starts whispering, you better listen, because what started as quiet warnings soon turned into an unspoken rule. If Meghan wears something, you might not see it again.
Camilla apparently made a jab at Meghan by wearing a full Dior outfit after Dior denied a brand deal with Meghan.
It wasn't even scandalous gossip, it became practical advice. Like, girl, be careful lending to that one. Designers began protecting their collections. Requests went unanswered. Follow-ups hit dead ends. And when the smaller brands pulled away, nobody noticed. But when Dior, yes, Dior, chose to step back, that was the earthquake. Dior doesn't say no to royalty. They don't close doors on high-profile women. Their entire brand thrives on being seen on the most glamorous, most elite. So when they quietly decided Meghan wasn't worth the risk with no press statement, no drama, just a polite, professional silence, everyone knew what that meant. The message was clear. Something's not right here. Other designers took note. The industry didn't make noise. They just stopped. No phone calls, no fittings, no couture deliveries. Just silence, the kind that says more than any headline ever could. And that, darling, was only the beginning. Now, let's rewind back to Toronto before the tiaras, before the palace, before the royal titles. Meghan was filming a regular commercial shoot. Nothing major. Everyone loved her on set. Confident, easygoing, glowing under the lights. But when the wardrobe coordinator started checking the racks after the shoot, her smile disappeared. Dresses were missing. Expensive heels. Aquazzura. The kind wardrobe people guard with their lives gone. They searched everywhere. Under tables. In makeup rooms. Behind curtains. Nothing. The team assumed it was an accident, maybe a mix-up, maybe a bag got misplaced. They followed up, sent emails, made calls. Weeks passed, then months. The items never came back. And then came the photo. Meghan, newly engaged to Prince Harry, standing before the world with a blinding smile and on her feet, those same Aquazzura heels from that Toronto shoot. Identical. The wardrobe team nearly fell out of their chairs. When asked, Meghan brushed it off. She said she didn't want the items she'd worn ending up on eBay, that she was too recognizable, too famous for that. But people were like, girl, then why not buy them? Fashion people don't care if you love something, they'll happily sell it to you, but disappearing without a trace? That doesn't sit right. From that moment on, the warning spread quietly. Be careful when lending to Meghan. Fast forward again, now she's in Kensington Palace. A whole new world, baby, but the same mindset. Hollywood runs on free stuff. You wear it, they benefit. Royals, though, totally different ballgame. The rule is ironclad. If you wear it, you buy it. No gifts, no borrows. Why? Because the royal family must stay neutral, they can't be seen endorsing any brand. Every piece gets logged and paid for. Catherine follows the rule. Camilla follows the rule. Even Diana followed it. But Meghan? She didn't see it that way. Staff started noticing requests for designer freebies rolling in. And when they tried explaining the no-gift policy, she resisted hard. It wasn't just confusion, it was defiance. She believed those rules were outdated, unnecessary. Why couldn't she operate like Hollywood stars? Why couldn't she get gifted clothes when every other influencer did? It became a tug of war. Palace staff grew uncomfortable. She didn't like being told no, and soon whispers about unreturned borrowed items resurfaced, this time from inside the palace. Prince Charles, who was paying for her wardrobe, finally took notice. He wasn't angry, just concerned. The spending was astronomical, nearly £1 million in her first year, compared to Catherine's modest wardrobe budget. And when he gently brought it up, Meghan took it as an attack. Instead of hearing advice, she heard criticism. The relationship strained, because to her, being questioned felt like being controlled. But to Charles, it was accountability, plain and simple. That's when things truly started to fracture behind closed doors. And while this chaos brewed in the palace, the fashion world kept connecting dots. They realized what Dior had realized: this wasn't about money. Meghan could buy anything she wanted. It was about mindset, entitlement, believing fame was its own currency. Hollywood says fame is payment enough. Royalty says protocol comes first. Fashion says trust is everything. Meghan, she tried to mix all three and it blew up spectacularly. So Dior quietly said no more. And honey, when Dior closes its door, every brand listens. They didn't gossip, they didn't leak stories, they just went silent. That cold, polite silence that means you're out. Soon, every designer started double-checking their lists. The ones who'd had missing pieces realized they weren't alone. The Toronto team, the Variety team, the Palace staff, everyone had their own version of the same story, and when they finally started talking, it all connected. The pattern was undeniable. Items vanish, excuses follow, phones go unanswered. The industry didn't blacklist her publicly, that's not how fashion works. They just quietly cut her out. Invitations stopped. Showrooms went unavailable. Requests couldn't be accommodated. That's how fashion says goodbye. And that green dress, that one visible, undeniable mistake, was the moment the whispers became fact. It tied every scattered story together. From Toronto to Kensington, the pattern was the same, clear as daylight. So when Dior finally closed the door, it wasn't out of malice. It was self-protection. Because at the end of the day, this story isn't about money or fabric or even royalty. It's about entitlement versus expectation. About how someone can walk into a centuries-old system with Hollywood rules and refuse to play by anything else. And in the fashion world, when trust is broken once too often, doors don't slam, they lock. Quietly, forever. And you know what's wild? Sugar? Even after all that, Meghan still walked around like she didn't notice the shift. Invitations stopped coming, stylists stopped calling, yet she kept dressing like everything was fine, like nothing had changed. But behind those glossy magazine covers and red carpet smiles, the whispers only got louder. Fashion folks might not scream it from rooftops, but baby, they remember everything. Once you break trust in that world, it's over. Quietly, permanently. Because, let's be honest, this wasn't about one missing dress or one pair of heels. This was about a pattern that trailed her like a shadow. Toronto, Variety, Kensington, every place had the same story written in different handwriting. People learned to protect themselves, to lock the racks before she came in, to double count inventory, to keep receipts and tracking sheets like their lives depended on it. That's not normal procedure for every celebrity. That's defense mode. And when the industry shifts into defense, you know they've seen enough. She might have thought her fame would shield her, that no one would dare question her. But honey, fame fades, reputation doesn't. Dior's quiet no was louder than any headline. That single decision told every fashion house, if Dior doesn't want this risk, why should we? And overnight, her glamorous circle got smaller. Invitations stopped. Stylists started politely declining. PR teams found scheduling conflicts. You can't buy your way back into trust once it's gone. Now, when people in fashion talk about the Meghan effect, it's not about style anymore. It's about caution. Check your inventory twice, they say. Don't skip the contracts. She became the story designers tell their interns. Never assume your client will follow the rules just because she's famous. And that, honey, is the kind of reputation you never want to earn. Because when Dior closed that door, they weren't being dramatic. They were being smart, protecting their name, their craft, their legacy. They'd seen the signs, the same signs Toronto saw, the same signs Kensington saw, and they chose silence over scandal. That's how professionals end things. Clean, final, no words needed. And even now, when Meghan steps out in something elegant, you can feel the hesitation ripple through the crowd. People look twice, wondering, did she buy it this time? That's the price of broken trust. Every outfit becomes a question mark. Because, darling, in this world, your reputation isn't about how pretty you look in a gown, it's about whether people believe you'll give that gown back. Fashion isn't built on fabric, it's built on trust. And once trust unravels, no amount of fame can stitch it together again. That green dress, that one simple piece of silk turned into a symbol. It wasn't just couture anymore, it was proof. Proof that even in a world full of luxury and fame, actions still speak louder than titles. And when those actions cross the wrong line too many times, even Dior, the House of Queens, will quietly say, enough. And that, my dear, is how one woman's wardrobe became the story that rocked the fashion world, not because of beauty, but because of broken boundaries. One dress, one door, one final no that said it all.